Welcome back, guys, to another episode of 5 Minute DD. We have a really big deal of a stock today. This is ticker IBM, IBM Common Stock. This is one that isn't talked about as much as I think it should be. It is insane, some of the financials behind this company, and it's pretty remarkable that I honestly haven't heard much about this stock except from those who do deep dives into dividends, and that's what we're going to talk about it today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys could like the video, that helps me a bunch. If you're interested in this kind of content, I do a couple videos a week typically. Go ahead and subscribe if you would like to, and if you want me to do a video on a specific stock you're looking into, drop a comment below. I love to do viewer requested videos. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. 5 Minute DD, for those that are new, is when I jump into a stock. I find out as much information as I can, basically encapsulating everything I would want to know before I was to buy it. Now, I'm not recommending you buy this stock. Everyone should make their own choices. This is not financial advice. This is just entertainment and information. So moving on, ticker IBM. This is a phenomenal stock. We see it starts out with a strong 5.1% dividend yield. Now, I know that is low for what I typically do on this page. I like to do a lot of higher yielding 9-10% yields, but with that comes risk. So when I'm talking about IBM and its higher yield, the reason I think this one is such a phenomenal stock is because the risk with this one is so low. Now, there isn't no risk, of course, all stocks have risk, but let's talk about IBM. So starting off with that 5.1% dividend yield, that is pretty phenomenal. They had 6% revenue growth in Q4 of 2022, which is a good amount of growth in my opinion. And that's overall revenue growth. We'll dive into some more of the details, but first I want to jump into their chart. So the market has been rocky lately. We can see that they've fallen from about the 150 range in December to where they're sitting now, the 125 to 130 range. The 5-year chart's even bumpier, moving all over the place, but it has been paying consistent dividends this entire time. Moving to their max chart, we can see it's up 421% all time, but this is from, the chart doesn't even show this. This stock, I believe, went public in it says 1911, I think it was 1916 was when it started paying dividends. So it has a vast history and huge market cap of 117 billion. Now the week low, the year low actually is about 115, so it does have a little bit of room to fall, and then 150 is the high. A nice dividend yield, I honestly love that. So what we're going to talk about right away is a Yahoo article that talks about the intrinsic value. Now I'm not going to go too far into it. I don't take these articles too seriously a lot of the time, but basically what it's saying is that based off of a lot of the stats of this company, there's a 45%, it's 45% above share price is what its target at for its intrinsic value. So take that as you would, not a lot of people trust all of these articles. So basically it's just saying that it's undervalued intrinsically, which a lot of people do value intrinsic value when it comes to dividend stocks and overall stocks. I like it. It's not live or die for me, but I thought it was interesting that it is so low intrinsically. Moving on to the big deal with this dividend stock, it is a dividend aristocrat. Now it's been paying dividends since 1916, which is insane, and growing them. Consecutive quarterly dividends every year since 1916. Insane. Now, a lot of this information that I pulled, guys, comes from their investor relations portion of their website, including this snippet that I grabbed. There's a lot on here that I want to go through, but I just pulled this one. This is one of the harder videos that I've done for 5 Minute DD. Now, that being said, it is not necessarily a bad thing that it is harder to make a video on this kind of stock because there's just so much to talk about and there's so much information that I think was important and so much to go over. Like this consulting portion is only one portion of their revenue. They have so many revenue sources. They're in 175 different countries working. Absolutely phenomenal. But that dividend aristocrat, let's look at the dividend history and look at the dividend growth. So we can see that it has been growing quite nicely. Big jump in 2019, and they just continued paying out this dividend. Now, I do like how they have been growing it as well, and we can see all the way back. This doesn't trace it all the way back, but if we keep going, it's been an interesting history now. 20 cents bouncing all over. Honestly, this shows some cuts, but I don't believe they haven't had any dividend cuts because it's an aristocrat. That's either a reverse split or something with this website, because Nasdaq.com is not always accurate. You guys should remember that when doing your own research on these things. But absolutely insane dividend growth. Impressive. I shouldn't say insane. It's impressive for how high the yield is and how long it's been paying out. But not, insane growth. This isn't necessarily a growth stock. It's a mix kind of subtle growth as well as some nice dividend gains overall. Now, jumping back into the company, this is the branch from consulting where they were making revenue. They had a 9% revenue increase with just consulting, which did push towards that 6% revenue growth elsewhere. And it just talks about how there's a lot. I mean, we can go through all this consulting, they have software, infrastructure, so much information that comes through all of this. And now it gets really heavy when you're reading into all this. I recommend everyone do that. It's good information to learn. And I definitely don't know everything on here. I'm not going to pretend to. There's a lot of things that sometimes I still look up and I learn something new every time I do these videos. But overall, once you get a good grasp of it, it helps you kind of figure out what stocks you like, which ones are obvious deadbeat stocks from the get-go, where you can see if they're spending too much money, if their PE ratio isn't correct or isn't where it should be. You can look up the history of the chairman and, everything like that, the different financial officials. So there's a lot you can get from the earnings. I really recommend it. Their next earning comes out in about 2 weeks, I believe. But moving on, let's talk about the cons. There are some cons. I did throw the average growth down in the cons because this isn't a stock that you're going to get rich off of. This isn't a penny stock that's going to go 1,000% in the matter of a year, 2 years, 5 years. This is not Tesla. This has a solid business model. It's been growing and doing really phenomenally well for over 100 years. This is not one that you want to throw necessarily all your money into unless you want to do that. That's up to you. And expect that insane triple-digit return. It is a slow grower. It's a high dividend yielder, which I love, and it's a safer pick. People have been asking me a lot in the comments, what do you recommend for a safe pick? We have some older people watching the channel, some younger people watching the channel, and I'm going to say what I would do, basically. Again, not financial advice, but what I like to do, I'm a younger investor, so I would do a smaller portion to these kind of stocks. IBM still paying that 5% dividend yield is pretty phenomenal. I would actually do more than that, even with it being a considered lower dividend yield than what I normally talk about. If I was older, saving for retirement and just wanted to live off dividends or have some compound growth, I would definitely be pushing more towards IBM and more dividend aristocrats. This is one video of 5 I'm going to do on the top yielding dividend aristocrats. Dividend Bull put out a video talking about the highest yielding ones. It's a great video. You guys should go check out his channel. It's one that I'm subscribed to on this page, and I really do find his information great. I've learned a lot from him, and I like to kind of recreate a lot of the information that he gives that I find important as well, and then overall dive more into the companies themselves. But I'm not knocking him at all. He does insane videos, and I really do appreciate him doing that. So go check out his channel. You get more dividend stocks on there. I like to talk about dividend stocks as well as other stocks, but we're focusing more on dividends now because I've just kind of jumped down the rabbit hole with dividend investing. Cons, quarterly dividends, not really a con unless if you're living off of this money, it could be a con, but all in all, nothing too crazy. And then long-term chart, just a little bit bumpy. A lot of stocks are bumpy. If we look at the high from about 10 years ago, this was trading a lot higher in the 200s before, and it did have a nice run of over 100% during that period from like 2008 post-crash back up. So a lot to like about the stock. This is not financial advice. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Let me know what you think. I definitely went over 5 minutes, but these videos are difficult to keep under 5 minutes. And I am trying to grow this channel, and I do need those watch hours. So if you stayed till the end, I really do appreciate that. You guys are the best. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, drop a comment. Tell me what more you want to know. Drop a comment on the stocks you're watching now, what you want me to do a video on. Like the video, subscribe if you're interested. I appreciate it. If not, thank you guys for spending some time with me. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next one.